Alrighty, we just talked about the summer season, and now we're gonna I was gonna say fall into the fall season. I don't know. My mind's just all weird right now. I just need to eat something, but we're gonna check out the fall season now. We're gonna check out September, October, November, and December. We're gonna see how everything pans out there financially, and yeah. So let's just get into this. So we're already in September, and September has a few offerings here and there, but I believe that horror is going to reign supreme this month. Compared to a lot of the things that are coming out, I don't think that a lot of these offerings on the right are going to really resonate as much as these ones on the left. I think Conjuring is probably going to end up being the biggest selling point of the month. Uh, Also because they're billing it as the last one, so I think it's going to get a little more traction because of it. A film like him, I think, is has potential to do well, especially because it's. Um, I have I could see it being very low scale, so I think it will probably benefit from that. The Strangers Chapter Two, I believe, is also going to do fine, just because again low scale. So Lionsgate might actually get a saving grace this year. So but we'll see. But I do believe that this is going to be another down month because a lot of these offerings here on the right, I just don't think are going to mean as much. And I just realized that I just put the Spanish poster for for one battle after another. My apologies on that. Um, but but actually, talking about a film like One Battle After Another, that is like $100 million plus thing, and that is not going to help because of what it literally is an original based film. I don't think this sort of thing is really going to resonate as much, especially because it's going for something of like an inherent vice, from Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography. I just don't think this is really going to resonate all that well. Downtown Abbey, I might be a little wishy washy on because the other films did okay. I think this is more to do in the foreign market, how we'll probably do in the UK. We'll see. But I think domestically, it's not going to do much of anything here. And from that, I don't think it's going to generally do all that much when it's all said and done. But the long walk, I don't see anybody really caring. Don't see a lot of traction for it. I know they're trying to create some marketing campaign behind it, but I just don't think it's going to matter. I don't think people are really going to care too much. Same thing here. Big Bold Beautiful Journey. I personally might check this out. These movies here, these two, I would definitely plan on checking out, but I don't think anyone's going to really care about this when it's all said and done. And same thing with Gabby's Dollhouse. I just don't see anybody giving a shit. Um, and sadly enough, I think that this might have the biggest chance to turn a profit of all these films here, purely because I think that kids might recognize this license. I don't know this IP, but again, I don't think it's going to do any business at all, though. So, so I think that this month might be. I think it's going to just be horror centric. I think this is going to be the month of horror, um, and I think largely just again just to do with just notability, also purely by genre and by low scale. Just all these films here I anticipate are going to be super low scale. So yeah, so I think that this month's gonna be another down month, but I think it's gonna be very, very genre specific in terms of what will make profit. So, but speaking of horror, let's get into October, the Halloween season, and looking at October, I'm thinking of all the months coming up. I think October is going to have the harshest time because yeah, this was supposed to have Mortal Kombat 2, but it got delayed for a very dumb reason. Um, but then no real horror in the month of October, just really Black Phone 2, which I do think will end up doing fine because low scale again. I'm going to make a guess on this one. I'm going to gamble because I think that to give some variation, I think that Good Fortune might. benefit now, since something like that Mortal Kombat 2 does now exist. I think that Good Fortune might benefit from having a little bit more awareness. Um, we'll see. I think this is more to do with the strength of the film itself, but I think that it has chances. Uh, so, especially because it also comes out the same weekend as Black Phone 2, so it might actually benefit from each other. We'll see. But I think I'm seeing these two potentially doing well. The rest, on the other hand, not so much. Um, Dwayne Johnson's dramatic debut, big dramatic debut. Don't see a whole lot of people really caring too much about that, at least in a mainstream sort of way. I just don't think it's going to mean all that much. I heard he's good in it, supposedly. I don't know, uh, but yeah, I don't think it's going to do much of anything. The big film for October, Tron Ares. I honestly don't think it's going to do all that well. Um, Tron as a brand has never been that mainstream or that popular. If you look at the past financial results for like Tron Legacy, uh, it wasn't that particularly strong. So I'm not seeing. I think that this might do better than that film, but I don't think generally it's going to amount too much. But I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna come down to how much it cost, and I'm pretty sure it cost a pretty penny. So So yeah, at the end of the day, I just don't think that people are going to really care too much. I just don't think it's that kind of brand. So, Roofman, don't see anyone caring about that. It's just, I don't really think it's going to amount too much. Maybe it might, maybe between the two comedies. I mean, between these two, we'll see which one ends up getting the more attention. Um, we'll see. I don't know. I think this might have a similar fate of like Caught Stealing did, which also they like again, it's like these directors going from like doing very specific kinds of films to then doing like very standard stuff in Hollywood, you know. So I don't know. For me, I don't think it's going to do all that much of anything. After the Hunt, no one I don't think is really going to care to see that. Same thing for this Kiss the Spider Woman. I don't think anyone's going to care. Bruce Springsteen biopic. I honestly don't think it's going to do all that much. I don't see a lot of anticipation for it, and also just purely by artists. I just don't think that I mean, Bruce Springsteen is popular. I mean, of course, his name is notable, but I don't think that is as notable compared to someone like um, compared to like Bohemian Rhapsody or Elton John. These names are way more popular compared to something like Bruce Springsteen, which is very kind of in some ways specific. So I'm going to say no on that. I don't think it's going to do too much, but I could be wrong on that. Regretting You, I don't see anyone really caring about this. The trailer, as far as I saw, just didn't really seem like much of anything to me. And Begonia, I'm going to say no because of just it being very much its own deal. I don't think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. So I just don't think people are really going to care. Cinephiles will come see it, obviously, but I will check it out too because it looks interesting. Um, but I don't think mainstream, bigger audiences are really going to care when it's all said and done. So I think October is going to be setting itself up. I think October is setting itself up to be a pretty down month, but we'll see how that pans out. Moving into November, I think that it is going to be a little bit of a better month. I'm anticipating at least 3 films to do well. Keeper, because I think that it's very low scale, and I think that a name like Osgood Perkins is starting to become something a little bit more noteworthy within the community. So I think that it will probably end up doing okay. Wicked for Good, I think will end up doing fine. Um, I it's just so weird to me because I don't think that the original film was actually that successful. I think it ended up doing okay, but it wasn't a major success story. And they tried to make it seem like it was like this massive hit, but I don't think it really was. But that being said, I mean there is a fan base, and I think that I think people will show up for another one. So I think they'll end up doing fine when it's all said and done. But obviously, the big winner of that month is going to be Zootopia 2. Disney knows what they're doing with this when it comes to release strategies, because we had Moana 2 come out around the same time this is coming out, so they know what they're doing with this. So I think this is going to be the big film of the month, and I think it's no doubt about it, really. But again, I think this is another down month, because when you look at some of the things over here, I just don't see a whole lot of traction for these films. Predator Badlands, I honestly don't think is going to be that big of a hit. I think that, if you're comparing the two horror creatures with Alien and Predator, Alien's going to win every single time when it comes to uh, the audience's interest. I don't think Predator is that sort of franchise right now, and especially now pushing a larger budget on top of this, with it, being a very expansive sort of deal. I don't know. I don't know. I have a feeling it's not going to resonate as much. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but my gut feeling is no on this. Same with this. I don't think people are really going to care too much about it. I think that it maybe it might pull like a Naked Gun situation where it just kind of just steadily grows. But I don't really feel that way for this. This I know will fail. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I know for a fact. I not for a fact, but I know that this will fail. I have it in my heart. I just know it will fail. I don't know who currently gives a crap about this series, and this series is expensive. These films are like $100 million. At least the last film was like $100 million. Yeah, I seriously doubt it, especially given what else is coming out. I don't think something like this is going to really mean much of anything to a lot of people. So I am anticipating this to potentially flop real hard, but that remains to be seen. Sishu Road to Revenge. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think compare also. Like, when does this come out? On the 21st. So I think the same weekend as Wicked. I think yeah. I don't think this is gonna do too much. The first one did enough, but I don't think this is gonna do too much. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. There was a lot of positivity that was came towards that first trailer. I was not crazy about it, but um, maybe I'll be wrong. But this one I also think is not going to do all that well. I don't think, just purely because I don't think there's going to be a lot of marketing attached to this one. So I don't think people are really going to know about it or really care, if you ask me. But again, another down month. I just don't see a whole lot of things doing great outside of a few. And when we go into December, that trend sadly continues. I think all of the high profile things are going to end up doing fine, though. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I think, is going to end up doing fine. I put this poster in just because I couldn't find anything else that would be accessible to this slideshow presentation. That'd work. I think this will end up doing fine. I'm pretty sure it's going to be low budgeted as the original one was, and probably end up doing as well as that original film did. Of course, heavy hitter Avatar, Fire and Ash. I am anticipating this to be a little bit lower compared to the other two. I think that there will be some diminishing returns. Like I said before, I think that The Way of Water benefited from a longer period of time to grow to some form of fan base or some form of interest. I don't think this is going to end up hitting $2 billion. I think that at best it'll hit $1 billion. But generally, I think that it will end up doing fine. But I think that it will be a little bit of a lower attendance this time around. And SpongeBob, I think, is going to be a benefit with Avatar. These two are coming out on the same, I think, roughly around the same time. This is coming out on Christmas. And it's coming out on the 19th. I swear they were going to come out on the same weekend. Um, But I think I could see trends being spawned out from seeing these two films, and especially with the context of SpongeBob, I think that it's going to be, I think, a lot of social media push for this. I can see a lot of people like Gen Z's my age just wearing crap and stuff like that, like they do for Minions. Um, so I think this is going to be more meme centric and is going to benefit from that social media push. And for kids, I think that this will be something of a something of a of a something of a comfort, whereas these are more built to certain kinds of audiences. So, but again, I think that it's going to be a down month because of a lot of the original content that is looking to come out at that time. We have Ella McKay, which I don't see who really is going to see that. Is this thing on? I think might get some traction, but not really. We have a remake to Anaconda coming out, which is the one with Jack Black, and I don't see a whole lot of people caring about that, especially with what is to come in that month. And Marty Supreme, which I seriously doubt is going to really have a whole lot of traction, especially if comes out the same weekend as SpongeBob. I think this is going to get way more traction compared to that. So yeah, so it's not looking great. It's not looking great. There are a few bright spots here and there. Some obvious ones like Avatar, we know will do great. We know films like Zootopia 2 will end up doing fine. But I think that Disney is still going to be slumming it a little bit because Tron, I don't think, is going to be doing all that much of anything. But I, I don't see the season panning out as well either. I think that this year, I just believe generally it's just another down year. I don't know how it compares generally to 2024. We might have to do a video for that and then by the end of the year. But I'm not seeing a whole lot coming into the fall season. There's going to be some offerings here and there that will, boost some of the attendance to the theaters. But I think generally it's another down season, if you were to ask me, based on my own predictions. But hopefully I'm wrong. So hopefully things like Predator, hopefully things like what else, like Sishu, things like that. Hopefully they will surprise me. Hopefully some comedies maybe will surprise me. Maybe The Running Man will end up doing fine. We'll see. Or Good Fortune, I think, will end up doing fine, potentially, depending on how it's received. And just, I think benefiting from that weekend with Black Phone 2, I think I think it'll end up doing potentially fine. But that's all to be seen in the near future. But those are my predictions. You guys know your predictions in the comment section below. What films do you think are going to do good? What films do you feel are going to do bad? And how do you think generally this whole year is going to pan out? This year has just not been great. I think it's just going to end up becoming that. It's just going to be a year that is just that of another down year, like last year was. So, but let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.